Hey, how is it going again, Guardians? LVnative here with another Destiny video for you. In today's video, we are going to be going over some of the information that Bungie just released today on their Twitch reveal stream for the Age of Triumph, focusing on the weekly rituals. And there is a lot to get into and some stuff that I think you guys are really going to be excited about. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a real quick look at
the feature comment of the day.
And today's comment comes to us from Magma Be Playing Destiny. And he says, I should be feature comment of the day because I'm cool. Well, I'll say this for you, Magma, you got a really cool name anyway. And remember, guys, if you want to be the feature comment of the day, all you got to do, smack that like button, leave a comment in the section below, and I just might pick yours to be the very next feature comment of the day. Alright, guys, so for those of you who didn't know, the Age of Triumph is the name of the next, and sad to say, the final live event that's going to be coming in to Destiny. And it's going to be launching on March 28th, so just a couple of weeks away, and we'll have all this great new content to go over. But today in the stream, they were talking mostly about the weekly rituals. That's what they were going to be focusing on. And there's some really great information in here, guys. A lot of stuff to go over. I'm going to get through it as much as I can. First things first, you are going to talk to the speaker on the 28th, as soon as Age of Triumph goes live. You want to go talk to the speaker. He's going to give you a quest line. It's got a lot of steps to it. I think they said like 14 or something. Basically, it's going to take you through everything that's been released in Destiny. It's going to take you through all the strikes, the crucibles, just all the raids. Everything is going to be all-encompassing with this particular quest. So it's not one that you're just going to finish really quick. It's going to take a long time, and you're going to be grinding most of Age of Triumph probably just to finish this particular quest. Okay, so what are these weekly rituals that they're talking about? So basically, and you go to orbit, you're trying to find a place to go. If you look at the screen right now, everyone should be familiar with this. That bottom left-hand corner, you have things like your weekly and daily PvP events, the weekly Siva Crisis or Heroic Strike playlist, the Nightfall, those are all right there. Those are going to be changed up just a little bit from what you and I currently know. So starting things off, on the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to have your weekly PvP event. And basically that is going to be a 6v6 playlist, and it's going to rotate every single week. And by playing that, you'll still get great rewards for that. They're going to have a new reward that you can get called the Treasure of Ages. Now, this is kind of like the Treasures of Dawning and stuff like that. These, though, are going to be able to have a very large amount of variety as far as all the rewards that you can get out of them. It's kind of staggering. They went through and showed everything that you can get, all from back in year one stuff. It's kind of cool. You're going to want to be able to get a lot of them, and of course, there's other ways that you can go about getting them besides these rewards. That is, of course, if you're wanting to spend money to do it, you can. I'm not saying you have to. I will, not just on principle. I will do it the old-fashioned way. Any rewards I'm going to get by grinding out and doing my weekly reward activities. Anyway, you can get a Treasure of Ages from doing the weekly PvP. Then on the second node, you're going to have the weekly story playlist. Now this is designed for anybody with 380 light or higher. You also will get a Treasure of Ages for it. And for the legendary marks, it's going to give you 20 of them, and you can do it 5 times. So for a total of 100 legendary marks. That's not, a small chunk of change for you. And what they've done is, instead of it being a daily story playlist, they've thrown it in as the weekly, and you could do all 5 of them and get your rewards all the time. Granted, we are losing out on 2 of them because a daily would be a total of 7 a week, but basically we can grind everything out for the week all at once, so we don't have to worry about coming back to it every single day just to get that done. And they're supposed to be giving very generous rewards with it as well, and that ought to be fun. One thing they're adding into the daily story missions, of course, now it's a playlist, is all the story missions are going to have modifiers. And that's pretty cool. It's kind of like the strike modifiers. That hasn't happened since the old Queen's Wrath stuff, with all the Queen's Wrath bounties. So we are actually going to have different modifiers for our our rotating weekly story playlist mode. And that's going to be fun. The way they're going to do it is kind of in segments. I'm going to be putting this up in the background for you to see that they've got Mars and Venus. So basically you play the entire list, it looks like. Or it's just, you know, a list of stories that can only be pulled from any of the stories for Mars or Venus. They also said that they have, you know, an Earth and Moon, and then they have one that's going to be paired up that's pretty cool, House of Wolves and Dark Below. So you go into that playlist, and I think that you have the random chance to have any of the daily story missions from either of those two planets, you know, or whatever segments that you're on. We'll have to see once we get into it, but that looks like it should be pretty cool. Moving on, the third node there, you have the Siva Crisis Heroic Strike playlist, and that is going to be with a recommended light of 350, and with that one, you can also get a third and final Treasure of the Ages reward. So you do the three on the left-hand side each and every week, you're maximizing the amount of Treasure of Ages you can get without having to pay real money for them. They're going to be really generous. They like to use the term generous AF, and I'm sure most of you know what that is. We will see once we start playing Strike. So they're basically talking like it's going to be raining loot on us. I hope that is the case, because I've been dying for something like that. All right, now where it gets kind of different on us. The fourth node in is going to be the weekly Nightfall Strike. That is going to be a recommended light of 380. And the big thing with the Nightfalls is they have a brand new modifier that they've added to it called Daybreak. So Daybreak is pretty awesome, guys. It's basically Nightfall on easy mode. What Daybreak is it's a PvE event that plays with all the same timings and everything that the Mayhem does for PvP. So all your abilities, your supers, your grenades, your melees, how fast they charge in Mayhem, and it's kind of fun. Take that, wrap it up in a tiny, nice friggin' package, and throw it into some PvE Nightfall strikes. We are going to be having supers going everywhere, just blowing through strikes. Imagine when you have an arc burn and you've got like two different, well, say a certain warlock stormcaller running around destroying everything, and then getting the supers back up for everybody super fast. It's going to be pretty glorious, guys. And I could easily spend an entire day, I think, just going through the strike, or going through the Nightfall over and over again when it's the Daybreak, just to try it with a bunch of different supers and just clean house. That ought to be loads of fun. And again, they say the rewards for that should be very, very generous. Now, it is a Nightfall, so we would expect generous rewards from it. Unfortunately, that Daybreak is not going to be around all the time. The Daybreak modifier will be around once a month, so every 4 weeks, starting with the launch on the 28th. When it goes live, that very first week is going to be a Daybreak Nightfall. I don't know which Nightfall strike it's going to be, but we do know the Daybreak modifier will be a part of it. That is super exciting. Now, if you're someone who wants that Daybreak all the time, they have you in mind. So this is a little bit of a glimpse into the future, guys. Mark it on your calendar, July 18th through the end of August. Basically a 6-week time span where every single Nightfall is going to have the Daybreak modifier. So for 6 glorious weeks, you'll be able to melt enemies in masses with that Daybreak modifier. It ought to be very, very fun and makes it for some very entertaining and enjoyable content to watch as well. All right, moving on after that, we have the next node over, the Challenge of the Elders, with a recommended light of 390. So they're bringing back the Challenge of Elders, making it, relevant loot, up to 400 light and feasible loot coming from it. And again, they just said it's going to be very, very generous rewards. So it's nice to see that they're bringing the Challenge of Elders back in and giving reasons for people to go in there and do it, because I really had a lot of fun when Challenge of Elders first was launched. And in that final node there, we have got the weekly featured raid, and that is going to be recommended light 390. And what that's going to be is they're going to take every single raid in Destiny and have them on a rotating cycle, starting with the Vault of Glass, all the way from Crota, all the way up into Wrath of the Machine. Now, there's going to be a different raid each week that is going to be, right there in that spot for the weekly featured raid. The very first one, we know they let this slip last week, is going to be Crota's End. So I thought they would start with Vault of Glass. They're going to start with Crota's End instead. And the great thing about Crota's End is it has 2 different modifiers, just like a lot of the other ones do when it's, challenge mode. They're going to have a challenge mode for, of course, for Crota, but they're also going to have one for the Death Singer. And what's going to happen is if your raid is that weekly featured raid, and you click it through that link right there, all modifiers are going to be active at once. So, that's going to be pretty interesting. Think of, the King's Fall raid, because I think that has, 3 different, 3 different challenge modes for you to do, and all those will be available, for you to play through during the same raid. On one playthrough, you can knock out all 3 challenge modes for that raid. That's going to be kind of insane, and it's going to be a lot of rewards and a lot of loot, and more importantly, a lot of reason for people to go back and play each and every raid every single week, just to get that, massive influx of loot all at one time. And I'm really curious to see what challenge modes they're going to bring for all the year 1 raids. For Vault of Glass, what are they going to do for that? Are we going to have to, push Atheon off using grenades so they're going to reactivate that? I don't know. One challenge I heard is that they are going to be the Gorgons. The Gorgon maze where you have to be really quiet and, tiptoe through for Vault of Glass. Those of you who didn't play Vault of Glass, sorry, you just have to kind of play along. But, you got to be real quiet and tiptoe. You don't want to sprint, all that jazz. No. For this modifier, we have to kill the Gorgons. Not just one. We have to kill every single Gorgon in that maze. I think there's 4 or 5. I've only done it one time before when I was with a group that wanted to do it. But it's not easy, and everybody has to attack all at once. You have a very short time to kill them. But that's going to be one of the challenge modes, is killing all of them. And who knows, maybe they've thrown a few surprises that we aren't expecting into that fight. That ought to be really fun. I can't wait to see what other type of challenge modes that they have. But just like me, guys, you guys are all gonna have to wait until the 28th of this month. So 2 more weeks. Countdown has begun, guys. Mark it on your calendars if you haven't already. I'm gonna be playing a ton of Destiny. I'm sure you guys are. And man, they just went over a lot of stuff. Before I get out of here, a couple of things I wanted to add really quick onto this. Let's see, just checking out my notes right here. Shax is going to be giving you 2 weekly bounties instead of 1, and they're going to be in the 6v6 playlists. So that's just more rewards for us. They've made a big update to the Silver Dust store. They're going to be basically having anything that you could think to ever possibly buy from Eververse. You can do it through that store now. It's a huge amount of items that they've added to that. And one last thing, and I wanted to save this for the end for you people who stuck around for the end, because this, I think, was the cherry popper of the entire stream. They saved it right for the very end. Had no idea this was coming back. Check out what you see on the screen right now. If you don't know what that is, you weren't here at the very beginning of Destiny. That is the blue flames on people's heads inside the social spaces. That is the Nightfall buff. They flat out said they are bringing the Nightfall buff back, blue flames and all, once you've got it, so everyone can see that you've completed the Nightfall that week. And yes, they are going to bring it back as it was, where it gives you the bonus experience for every activity that you do for the rest of that week. Get ready, boys and girls, to make sure you knock your Nightfalls out very first thing when the weekly reset happens, so you get all that bonus XP for everything else you do for the rest of the week. I was about to lose it when I was getting ready to turn the stream off, and he popped, kind of sweet-talked that one in at the very end, and I about lost my mind. So I'm excited. I think you guys know that by now. I hope you are as well. In the comment section below, I want to know, what do you guys think about all this information that's come out? Are you excited for it? If you are, what part are you most excited about? I'm dying to read your comments, guys. I'm going to wrap this up because I want to get this, edited and out there for you guys. But as always, this is LVnative. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in the next one.